Hey, this is Pastor Jamie Tickler, First Baptist Church in Cherokee, Kansas. Glad you're along for this short little broadcast on YouTube. We're just excited to be able to give you an opportunity to listen to a little bit of what we do here at Cherokee. We just hope that you enjoy this, that it's a blessing to you. And feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to get in touch with our church via the website, www.cherokeechurch.org. From our website, you can listen to entire unedited messages. And if you're in our listening audience, you can tune into 103.5 FM for Truth for Today that plays every Sunday morning at 8:30. God bless. We always talk about having balance in life. And I want you to notice something, and we're going to read it in just a moment. But I want to recognize that David had incredible balance in a very specific area of his life. And let me tell you what that area of balance was. David could recognize and look and see the situations that were going on in his state or society. He could look at society and he could discern that unrighteousness was going on, that there were wicked men. And yet, at the same time, he could look at that scenario of wicked men and their prevalence, and then at the same time, he could look to the Lord who he knew was faithful. And I say that because I believe it's easy for us to get out of balance. That sometimes we can look at the world and we can get so down by the things we see. We can get so hopeless over the situations, and we can find ourselves getting out of balance by looking at all of the depraved things that are going on while failing to balance out by looking at hope to the Lord. There are also times we can look to the Lord so much that we ignore the situations that are going around us in the world. And David was able to bring balance and to demonstrate for us what a good balanced life is, to be able to discern what's going on in the world, to stay abreast of the situations, but yet to not lose hope and continue to look toward the Lord, knowing that He indeed is faithful. So join me if you would. I want to look in Psalm 12. We're going to read all 8 verses this morning. And I want us to look at who turned out the lights. What happened? What was David seeing in society? He says in verse 1, "Help, Lord, for the godly man ceases. The faithful disappear or fail from among the sons of men. They speak idly, everyone with his neighbor. With flattering lips and a double heart they speak. May the Lord cut off all flattering lips and the tongues that speak proud things. Who have said, with our tongue we will prevail, our lips are our own, who is Lord over us? For the oppression of the poor, for the sighing of the needy, now I will arise, says the Lord. I will set him in the safety for which he yearns. The words of the Lord are pure words, like silver tried in a furnace of earth, purified 7 times. You shall keep them, O Lord. You shall preserve them from this generation forever. The wicked prowl on every side, when vileness is exalted among the sons of men." Let's stop there. Some of you may have heard of Jennifer Knapp. She was a relatively local young lady that sang Christian music, was picked up, and ultimately had made a tremendous career in Christian music. One of the things that she said in one of the lines of her songs, and whenever I read Psalm 12, I think of that line. She says, "In the absence of martyrs, there's a presence of thieves." And I can't help but think about that. When the salt and when the light is taken away, no doubt corruption and darkness overtakes. But it's only when the light is gone. And David is looking out at society. He's looking at his state. He's looking at the people and the goings-on around him. And he notices several things. He notices really 2 things that I want to talk about first. And if you're taking notes, the very first point this morning that I want us to look at is the state of David's surroundings. He gives us a very clear description of what is going on around him. Now look with me, if you would, in the very first verse one more time. He says, "Help, Lord, for the godly man ceases, for the faithful fail or disappear from among the sons of men." Now, we've already read through this, so you know that it says that there were wicked, vile people. There were those who were oppressing the poor. There were those who were declaring their independence, their spiritual independence from God. And while all of this vile, worldly, carnal action, all of this sinfulness was going on, David finds himself crying to the Lord because he's looking around. And the faithful and the godly who used to inhabit stations throughout the city, the godly men and the godly women that used to be there, David's looking around and he says, I'm not seeing them anywhere. Help, Lord, for the godly man ceases. Now, the most interesting thing about this is by his own statement, by his own request, he's saying, Lord, there used to be godly people here, but they've stopped. There used to be faithful people here. They were sprinkled out all throughout the city, all throughout the town. They were all throughout the land, but Lord, they're disappearing. Their presence is not felt. Their witness is not seen. And David's looking around, and I'm sure that maybe you might be able to relate to that a little bit, to look at all of the unrighteousness that's going on around you and to say, well, where are the Christians? Where are we? Why are we disappearing? Why are we stopping? Why are we ceasing? Why are we removing our influence? One of the things that we must remember that is foundational to the understanding of who and what a Christian is. And it's this. Christians who are following the Lord, who are obedient to the Lord, who are following hard after Him, are to impact the world around us. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for me. There's no excuse for any of us who have called ourselves by the name of Christ to not influence, impact, and let me use the word interfere with the world around us. That's what light does. Light interferes with darkness. Light halts darkness. Darkness is stopped at the presence of light. And Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount, turning to His disciples, He said, "You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world." Now, for those of us that think, well, I'm a Christian, but I'm not really impacting, I'm not really interfering, I'm not really impacting the world around me, let me remind you of when Jesus told His disciples that they were salt and light. This was at the beginning. And as Christians, there's no excuse for any of us who have been born again by the Spirit of God to not recognize that we are to impact and interfere with the world, just as salt preserves and heals and does all of those things. And light discloses, light shines, light glorifies. All of those characteristics and qualities are to be who we are right now. We don't grow into being salt and light. If we're Christians, we are salt and light. Jesus says if the salt has lost its savor, it is good for nothing but to be cast out and trodden under the feet of men. To which I heard a preacher preach one time, and the sermon title was this: Good for Nothing Christians. Christians that are salt, that have lost their savor. They're good for nothing but to walk on. And we see in this story, David's looking around at all of the unrighteousness that's going on around him. He's describing his state, what he sees. And he says, "Help, Lord, for the godly man ceases." Which brings up a question. Why did they cease? And I'm not saying that walking the walk of faith is easy. But when we, as the godly and the faithful, adopt the mentality that if you can't beat them, join them, we have done a grave disservice to the one who has called us to be a soldier of Jesus Christ. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our short little broadcast here on YouTube. We hope that it's been a blessing for you.